Hey,
Oh, what is going
what's up,
on,
girl?
Coach? It's been a while. How's everything going?
Woo! Everything is good. We are just kind of kicking off conference a few weeks ago, and just got some good news where I get two players back that we hadn't had all conference, and Zay Green will be back next week, and so the good news is.
Oh yes.
Let's give our guest the proper introduction. Eddie Robinson said it best. Who is SWAC? Who is SWAC? And I cannot find anyone else that embodies who is SWAC more than our guest today, Coach Dawn Thornton. Not only is she a coach in the SWAC, she was also a former player, played at Jackson State, 2 regular season conference titles, had a stint at Prairie View as both an assistant associate head coach and as a head coach, 4 SWAC tournament titles, 4 berths to the NCAA tournament, 2 SWAC player of the years at PV, 1 SWAC newcomer of the year with Zay Green, which is why we're happy to hear the news she's coming back.
2 Khadijah Brown also. 2
Khadijah Brown.
SWAC
See, correct me if I'm wrong,
newcomers.
Coach. It's an open conversation. I'm bragging about you.
Say, y'all,
Come on,
all
we
my
gonna get all these
accomplishments.
rights.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I ain't trying to take anything from our love coach. Last season was UAPB's, the Golden Lions' first in match. I went all the way back to 2010, and that last season was one of the best seasons in program history. 3 years in, and she's turned this program around. So, Coach, you want to brag some more?
That's nothing really to brag about when it comes to the success that we've had in this program, because we are a little bit different than other schools in this conference. Obviously I played at Jackson State and had an opportunity to coach at Prairie View. It's different being at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Our kids are just built different. They don't have all the bells and whistles that a lot of our other schools have in our conference. So when I tell you that they out here grinding and they get it from the mud, I mean that. Our kids are resilient in everything that they do. So to have some accomplishments, knowing the struggles that go on behind the scene, I'm just proud to be able to still be here to pour into these young women.
Amen to that. So, Coach, you have it from the coach's perspective, but you also have it from the player's perspective as well. So what are you able to, tell your kids as they go through their matriculation in their collegiate careers?
One thing that I will say, when I was in college, playing at Jackson State prepared me for life. Being a part of an HBCU, being a part of our great conference is something that it's an everyday lesson. You're around people that look like you, that pour into you, your professors, people in the cafeteria, people know you by name, and you really and truly start to instill that sense of a family. And the dynamics of what that looks like to, your parents raise you. It takes a village to raise you, but it also takes a village for you to continue and matriculate through our college. And being a part of an HBCU, those are the things that you really and truly value. And our young women that come through our program, they understand it. They don't really get it in the beginning, but as they continue and stay in the program, you find out that they grow up, and I call it the glow up. We glow up with each other and grow together, and it's a beautiful thing. It's really beautiful.
So you teach them as of right now, but what do you learn from them as a coach?
Patience. My Lord. It's a different, like every 3 years, the generation is different. And as a coach, you try to relate to them more. You really want to try to understand, what they're going through. These kids are crazy. And my kids watching. I know I got kids. I got Splash clicked in. I think she's watching. They are crazy, but it's a good thing because they need their coach. They need coaches and people in their corners that they can trust, they can lean on, and they can depend on. So, they've taught me how to be strong. They've taught me how to be patient because, when I chose to be a coach. They didn't choose it. I chose that. And I tell my staff all the time, if you're not relating to the kids, then you're doing this coaching thing a disservice. So as the generations change, coaches are finding themselves, younger coaches especially, adapting and changing with the new generation. It's definitely something that, oh my gosh, it's an everyday process.
Yes. One thing I noticed, everyone noticed, your handle, Diva Coach. Can you kind of break that down for us?
Okay. A little baby hair today. You see the little.
I see it, Coach. Coach said I got the bang, the baby hair.
Yeah. Here's a true story. The true story is when I first started coaching, I met this guy, and his name was Coach Van Chancellor. Van Chancellor was the head women's basketball coach at LSU. And he also coached in the WNBA for the Houston Comets. I sat down and I talked to Van when I first got in the profession, and I didn't know him. I just reached out to him, found out that he was coming to Jackson, and I said I needed to sit down and talk to him because I wanted to see myself coaching on that level. And he at that time when I met him, I had on like this windsuit when the windsuits was in, and on some red windsuit pants, a nice fresh polo. You know, I had my hair done and my makeup and everything. And then he said to me, he talked to me about Joni Taylor, the Joni that's at Texas A&M. She was an assistant for him at LSU. And he compared and talked about how Joni represents motherhood, mentorship, Black power, Black female excellence, and all of that. And he said that I can take that woman into anybody's living room and sign any kid in the country, because every mother that is everybody that's a mother, or every mother that a recruit has that we are recruiting, that parent can look at their child to know that that child can look up to Joni Crenshaw, now Joni Taylor. So I embraced it, and I said, you know what, I want to be different, and I want to dress up, and I want to look, and I want to carry myself in a light. Not to mention J13 is on the way. Shout out to all the red. Shout out to the devastating divas of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Ooh, but I wanted to kind of like carry that over to coaching, and so I just ran with it, and then everybody just started calling me Diva because. But although when I played basketball as a college athlete, I wore makeup, so I did the whole beat. And I put the lipstick on like Tina Thompson, and I had the red and the pink lipstick on game day when I was a college student too. So this has just been me for a long time.
To stay yourself in an ever-changing profession, society, world, to just be you.
You know, it's been very challenging. It's been wonderful. You know, a lot of people have been able to embrace it. I think you just go with things, and then you understand your purpose. And I think that being who I am and being strong for our young women today is something that I don't take lightly. And I really and truly embrace that every day in everything that I do.
One thing coming from Jackson State, I believe Denise Taylor, that era. So one thing you guys have learned under a coach, you're not the only Denise Taylor product in the SWAC right now. You have Tamika Reed, you have Freddie Murray. Can you talk about, you know, that coaching legacy coming out of Jackson State?
You also have Larry McNeil, an assistant women's basketball coach at Alabama A&M. Yes. Coach Taylor was different. Let me tell you, my girl was different. She demanded so much from us, nothing but excellence. There was no shortcuts. There were no, you know, you had to take the stairs to success with her. And she just did not, you know, cut a corner with us. And she demanded that from her staff. She demanded that from her players, from her coaches. You know, Coach Mack was my assistant coach. She actually even coached with me at Prairie View when I became the head coach at Prairie View. And so it was just something where you understood the standard. The standard is the standard. And Coach Reed has done a phenomenal job, you know, in keeping the success of that program going, because she was also a product at the helms of Coach Taylor. So Coach Denise is very special. And I will honestly say she was the original OG diva of the conference. My girl had on a leopard skirt with a leopard top and leopard boots, and she'll try to pick a way to put a leopard eyeshadow or something on. But so I got it honestly, and I could see myself walking in her shoes many nights.
Okay. I started it off, I said you were SWAC, she is SWAC, everyone. I want to know, how do you kind of balance all of those SWAC allegiances? Coached at Perth, you played at Jackson, coaching now at UAPB, your husband coaches at Grambling. Like, do you have a jacket with just everybody, like everybody get a sleeve, like this section belong to you, this section belong to you? How do you balance all of those, Steve?
I love our conference and everything that it stands for. It was good enough for me to be a student athlete when I committed in 2002 to go to Jackson State. And it's still good enough for me. And when I'm talking to our young women every single day, that's the vision that I pour into them and I share with them. The life lessons and the relationships and the bonds that you have with your teammates, your coaches, you will be able to carry that for the rest of your life. So that is definitely something that that we continuously to remind our young women every single day. I like to think that I am SWAC. I've been successful in this conference before, and trying my best to pull this thing together at UAPB to make our women's basketball program relevant. We haven't had any success as a Division I program, and that's the goal. What we want to be able to accomplish this year. Our record doesn't reflect it, but all these teams that we played in our conference, they've had their whole entire team. The world has not seen UAPB women's basketball entire team for the 2022-2023 season. So we're about 2 or 3 weeks away from our entire team being back 100% healthy. So I want to be able to see us turn the corner and be able to shine some light on this program here also.
Coach, I made a SWAC it. I call it the SWAC it during the summer before media day. It's a jean jacket with all the patches of all the different schools. So if you need one, I got you.
So you can go ahead and send me a DM and let me know how much, and I want it. I need it. I definitely need it. I need it.
The first time I met Coach was the first day of the SWAC basketball tournament, and it was Coach Reed Coach Reed in Jackson State against you ladies at UAPB, and I mean, god dang, the one of the biggest battles wasn't even on the court necessarily. It was the fashions. Now, I love me some fashion. I love beauty, makeup, hair, all of that. And I want to know from you, what is your, go-to look when you're kind of thinking about, what you're going to wear this game? What are you pulling from your closet?
I know Coach Reed is gonna step, and she gonna big step. So I don't even try. You can't compete with championships and coaches of the year money. You can't compete with that. So I don't even try to compete with that. I've been, I'm 6'2.5", and my mama always told me, just make sure that you carry yourself in a positive manner and that you always look good. So, I just kind of, just depends. I mainly focus on my hair, not really what I'm gonna put on, because you can go to look Sheen, Fashion Nova, all of those, like Pretty Little Thing, whatever. You can put it together and it can always come out right. So I just focus on the hair, and then whatever I can pull together, I just pull it on.
How do you embrace your height? Okay. Because I'm a taller woman as well. I'm 5'10", and for a lot of my childhood and my adolescence in general, I was very insecure about my height. So it wasn't even until college where I was wearing high heels or shoes that would elongate my legs, clothes that would make my legs look super long, because I felt some type of way about it. So first of all, how did you find your confidence, with your height, and how did you maintain that?
Well, let's just be completely honest. So, when I was in middle school and high school, I was always one of the taller girls in the class, and so that means you were taller than the boys, you're taller than the football players, just as tall as the basketball players, and so when you have that first crush when you're about in the sixth, that crush doesn't really like you back. It hits different. Especially hits different when you turn like 35 and then they still, never mind. Okay. So it kind of hits different. So, so I was the one that was in the shell. You know, I wasn't who I am now. I tried to conform to the room. And I didn't embrace it until I understood that, you know, God made me, who I am. And I'm special and I am enough. And I think I started to notice that when I was in junior college, and, you know, I was the one that walked like, didn't stand up straight and didn't articulate. I didn't want to overpower people with my presence. And I think even right now in the coaching realm, that still exists, because when you are, and right now, like I got on what, about 6-inch heels right now, and you got officials, referees that's running down the sideline that's 5'8", and then I'm loud because I'm from Jackson, Mississippi, right? You know, so I've always been this overpowering person. And, you know, I just learned that I'm just going to be okay with who I am. And if you can't adjust to it, then shame on you. So that's just how I am now. I got a little older and a little bit more wiser. And, you know, once you follow with a great heart, if people don't understand that, then oh well.
Yeah. Kind of giving your struggles, how are you kind of helping guide some of your players? Because maybe some of them have that similar issue, that insecurity. How are you kind of embracing them and kind of instilling some of that confidence in them as well?
Well, you know, I have a young lady on my team, Maya Pete. Maya is a beautiful, beautiful young Black female. Maya is about 6'5", but Maya is 6'5", and she's not even standing up straight. And so I tell Maya all the time, stand up straight and, you know, chest up, you know, shoulders back, and be beautiful. And I think that she's now starting to embrace that a little bit more. She too, coming out of high school, going to college, looking different when you've always been the bigger female, bigger girl on campus. So now she's understanding that I'm bold, I'm Black, I'm beautiful. And she's walking in that. I think you continuously you get them to play dressed up. That's why our picture days are always going to be over the top. It's never going to look like anybody else's, because I want them to be able to embrace who they are as a Black female. Not necessarily who you are as a ball player. And so for them to be able to have those moments to dress up, to feel beautiful about themselves, we want to make sure that we can shine light to that on any opportunity that we get.
You mentioned something that actually just stuck with me, and you said, you know, not just a ball player. So how do you encourage your ladies to exemplify themselves as more than athletes?
Well, one thing that I do that a lot of coaches probably wouldn't agree with is I encourage them to join other organizations on campus. I have a young lady that just crossed over Delta Sigma Theta this past fall semester. And I know when I was in college, and I can repeat this now because I'm grown and then nobody gonna say nothing to me about it. My coach did not let us pledge in college. And that was just so disheartening. You know, we always schedule practice around rush. But I think that that's a part of the college experience, because if you're not having a great year, it's only going to be one winner. So you got 12 teams, only one champion will be, you know, will represent this conference at the end of the year. But what do you do with all of those days in between? What do you do with all those moments in between? And you got to get out of the gym. You got to get across campus and hang out and chill. For we have pretty Wednesdays on campus. But you need to embrace what it's like to be a college student. And that's one thing that I encourage them all the time to do.
So, Coach, you're at UAPB, your husband's at Grambling, you're in season. How do you kind of balance both, you know, supporting your team, showing out for them, and also I saw you at homecoming. I saw you taking some trips to see Grambling as well.
Yeah, so Cedric is, you know, before he got to Grambling, he was at Alcorn. Before Alcorn, he was at Texas Southern. Before Texas Southern, he was at Alabama State.
He is SWAC.
So he's SWAC. And he graduated from Alabama State, so he is SWAC, all right? But I'm glad that, you know, our seasons don't really overlap. There are a few games that I will miss, but I'll try my best to always make those games. Travion has done a really good job of making it easier for me to maneuver throughout the Gremlin, you know, fans and stuff, so I can go straight, you know, to the field or whatever, whatever those perks look like. But you know, being a head coach, I'm able to set my own schedule. And so I always set my schedule around football season. So I wait on him to give me his schedule for the new year, and then I'll set my basketball season around that. So I do a really good job of making sure that my presence is known wherever
that's
he is.
right. I want to be like you when I grow up. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Okay, I'm just gonna be real now. If y'all wanted the representative, y'all should have told me to bring the representative, but I'm gonna just keep it a buck.
Listen, put us in Coach Thornton's school of hard knocks. I'm here and I'm ready. I will get my notebook right now and start writing. I love it.
It's definitely a challenge, but it's been beautiful. It has. I
love that because it seems like throughout, I don't want to say throughout society, throughout time, it's always like women are put on the back burner. You know what I mean? Our dreams, our goals, our ambitions come second to who, you know, we want to be with or who we are with. And oftentimes, sometimes women will just lose out on their dreams. So to see you living yours is amazing. And while you guys were dating, I don't want to be in y'all's business, but while y'all were dating, did you have conversations about your respective aspirations and how to make them work should this have gone, you know, where it is now, marriage?
I think the biggest thing is that we wanted to be with someone before we met. We wanted to be with someone who understood what we do. Coaching is very challenging, and it's very demanding when you're in season. So being with somebody who understands what you do is something that's very important. But also having an opportunity to be with somebody who Cedric doesn't try to dim my light. He knows that his wife is extra. She's always gonna be over the top. She's always gonna be amazing. Isn't it like the TikTok? It's gonna always be over the top. It's gonna always be. So he knows that that's just who I am, and he knows exactly what he signed up for, and he doesn't try to confine me in any shape, form, or fashion. It just makes sense. We're 2 hours away from each other. He's living his dream. I'm living mine. But he always talks about if somebody had to make the sacrifice and stop coaching college basketball, it would be him. For me, I'm like, look, these football coaches now, they paid now, so it might be me. I don't know. But no, but he always he'll tell you, if you ever listen to him do an interview, he'll say that I'm a high school ball coach by heart. So if he ever had to go back and coach high school football, he would love to do it to be able to support me throughout my journey in the coaching field, for sure.
Coach, in addition to your husband, it's pretty well known your family also supports. They travel very well. Every game came to the SWAC tournament.
Yeah.
They scream. I'm like, yeah.
Did they bring a bus?
I have to sit in this section. Mom, I want to be able to hear. I want to be able to hear.
Listen, hold on. Kadada, come here. I'm in Jackson right now. So I'm at my sister's office right now. When my sister show up, like everybody gonna know she is here. Hold on, here she go. Look, let me go and invite her to the camera. Say hey. Are they asking about you? Hey. Girl.
Hey,
listen, if we playing her and my daddy gonna show up and show out, they're gonna be loud and everybody gonna know the Mississippi people are in the building. So yeah, for sure. My family, they're my rock. We have a very small family. Kadada, they said, "Ooh, UAPB, you look good to me." So yeah, my family, when they show up, they represent. So that's my mom. She's right here.
Hey,
those two laughing. So yeah, they're always right. They're always gonna support, for sure.
How important is that with such a demanding career to have a strong village to support you?
Well, even when I was at Prairie View, my family got on the road and traveled to Prairie View. We went to Alaska. They got on the plane and went to Alaska. We was at Hawaii, Connecticut. My family always are going to be there for me, for our young women. You know, even inviting the girls over to the house and having them there for holidays. You know, my family, we're going to come up and they're going to cook for them. Basketball has been who I am my whole entire life. And so this is just something that they've embraced. It's something for us to do, to have a good time, to follow and support. So as long as, you know, we're doing what we're doing, you know, my family's going to be there in everything that we do, that they always going to be there to support their family.
I love it. I love it. Oh,
You see the
I love
face
it.
with the 4 hearts.
Oh yeah. Look, I can't do it without, because you know, you have to think about this with Cedric being being a football coach. When we travel, like we fly out in the morning and go to fam tomorrow, my mom has to get on the road and be there with my son and bringing him to Pine Bluff and taking him to and from school. So, you know, and my sister's like, all right, let's go. You got to go. Dawn playing, got to go. So, you know, they're going to be there. They're going to always show up.
You know, as a mother, how does it feel, you know, knowing you have such strong support system that's willing to drive 2 hours, make sure your son's good, so only thing you really have to focus on are whooping the Rattlers?
Well, you know, my son calls me and look, and he's just as hard on me as we lost to Prairie View on Monday, 62-61, and my son said, Mom, if you just hit 5 more shots, you would have won the game. You got to hit 5 more. You lost by 2. And then he hangs on to it for 2 or 3, 4 days. And he was like, you know, you're not good right now, Mama. Your girls need to be focused. Do you want me to come up with a game plan? He is 6. And he was like, I'll just come up with the game plan or the practice plan. And he wants to blow the whistle in practice. So to have that support staff, that rock behind you, and knowing that my son is following in the footsteps of 2 great leaders, being his mom and his dad, is something that, you know, we're really proud of him.
Your son kind of decided, is he following in mommy's footsteps? Is he basketball or is he team football?
So listen, girl, he's playing basketball. So he played basketball and football last year. That was the first time that he played sports. Killed in football. I don't know where he got it from. His dad probably gonna say he got it from him, but Cedric's gonna probably say that. But he did a really good job. He got invited to play on an all-star team and got the MVP of the game. And my child just started playing, so he got like 8 flags that game, and so that was big. And now he's playing basketball. Just started basketball, played in his first basketball game on Saturday, and he couldn't even dribble. I had him at camp. Listen, girl, I had him at Little Lion Camp in August. He at the concession stand. He's sitting down. He laying down eating chips in the middle of drills and stuff. So I'm like, my child just ain't going to play no basketball at all. But he is doing really well. He got a steal and made a free throw last game. So I don't know. Maybe he's just going to wake up and realize that this is what he wants to do and he's going to do it. So that's what I'm thinking that's going to happen.
Okay. Either basketball or football. Let's see. We're tight. Oh, Ty, you missing some good stuff. You better hurry up and join back. I wanted to give her a second because we got to get to the nitty gritty. We got to get to the good stuff.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, starting off, you know, what are some areas before we start? Let's see. Is she back yet? Is she back? Nope. Okay. So, you know, couple games, you just started conference play. What are some areas you are really looking for your team to improve upon and grow in as you kind of head further into conference season, getting ready for conference tournament?
I think the biggest thing that we want to do is just get healthy. You know, I think our most notable signee was Mari Davenport. That was our post player. She transferred from 5-star post player, McDonough All-American. Mari played on the USA national team, transferred from University of Georgia, but Mari's been hurt, so she hadn't played but probably 20 minutes in 4 games due to an injury that she has. So I think that's the biggest thing. I love the fact that Maya Pete has stepped up for us. That's our other post player. She returned from last year, so having her here and her stepping up was something that's been really, really big for us too. And then, you know, our starting point guard in the preseason, she had a shoulder injury and she just got released and she'll be back on Saturday. And so we've been really trying to get the wheels rolling without Zay Green. That's been the talk in the locker room. I told my team I felt like that we were capable of winning without Zay Green. And although we've only won one conference game, you know, it's a big presence for you to not have the preseason player of the year on the floor. I mean, this kid's averaging 17 points a game, and not having her really and truly give some other bigger shoes for other people to step up to filling, you know, to fill. But I think that we definitely have enough depth in every position to be able to fill that void, but consistently giving that is something that we've been trying to figure out. You know, we've had conversations about goals and sacrifices that it's going to take in order for us to be successful. And I think that, you know, we're turning the corner in the right direction to try to get those things solved before Zay gets back. Because it's just kind of like this. It's like if you have a role player, you have a player that specifically gives this every night. And now you're asking that same kid, okay, now I need you to jump big in the scoring column for me. And they're like, okay, I can do it. But being able to consistently do it is something that we need to be able to see more from them.
Coach, going into this game, what are you telling your girls?
It's about us. You know, a lot of teams in this conference is going to be tough. These kids, everybody wants to leave their mark and earn their respect, you know, especially because of the type of schedules that we have to play in the preseason. All of our teams, you know, we have to play those brutal preseason schedules that, you know, nobody really and truly likes to play, honestly. But it's about us being able to play together. I thought when we got ready to play Texas Southern, I could see a glimpse of what I thought that this team was capable of giving and producing. So that was something that we wanted to go back to, just making it about us, playing together, loving on each other, supporting each other, being tough, being the best version that you can possibly be, because they understand mistakes are going to happen. And we're going to allow them, you know, I'm going to let them work through mistakes. That's one thing that I've been talking about. You're going to work through your mistakes, but being able to just be resilient is something that we've really been talking about going on into Florida this weekend.
Well, Ty's gone again, but one thing, you know, as unfortunate injuries are, one thing they do allow, it allows the opportunity for other players to step in, get some reps, and ultimately get better as a result of it. Can you talk a little bit in terms of in what ways have you feel like your team has stepped up in the absence of Davenport, in the absence of Green, kind of stepping up that you think would really pay dividends when the full team is healthy later on?
You know, we are right now, honestly, without Green and then Bowie, our point guard, we haven't played with 3 starters. Okay, so Zay was a starter for us all year last year, Davenport, and then Shayla Bowie. So having players like a Demetria Shepard, Jaleesa Reese, Karaya Begg, Razia Potter, you know, even Markeisha Body, all of our young women, I don't want to start naming them because they'll start watching me say, Coach, you ain't say my name. You ain't say. All of them are capable of having a big night. So when we recruited each one of these young women, we knew that they could fill it up. And I think what the game versus Texas Southern, Demetria Shepard, Dee Dee, and Jaleesa Reese and Maya Pete all were double scoring digits. And then, you know, we play on Monday night and you have Razia Potter back in double scoring digits. And so we have those on our roster that can get it done. That is very, very important to have. And we do have that. Consistently giving that, but understanding that it could be somebody else's night. Love on them, celebrate them, respect them. That's something that we've been making sure that we're paying homage to also, because you want to be a good teammate in the midst of all of that. That stuff is always important. So that's what we've been really and truly like talking about every single day, because we have kids that can step up. And there's no doubt in my mind that we don't have that.
Okay. Have a roster. One thing that you notice, like with your progression, building up this program, you know how to build, you know how to bring your girls in, you know how to get them to buy in. Can you talk a little bit about that process? You know, you bring a former McDonald's All-American in, you bring in Zay, who had an immediate impact. You develop Maya Pete, so now she's confident and she's stepping up. you're bringing in graduate students like Body. Can you talk a little bit about that process of kind of building up this roster so that you can kind of sustain the success that you had last season?
It's challenging because it seems like we're bringing in a new team every single year. I think we brought in 11 players this year. The year before that, I think we may have brought in 9 or 10. So it seems like, you know, you have constantly a challenge. But for us this year, we did something different with recruiting, and I don't really want to like sell my secret because it worked, and I don't want to put nobody else on game. But we allowed all of our recruits at the same time to see the vision, okay? To see the vision. And I can't say how I taught them, how I was able to show them that, but they all saw the vision and they all bought in at that one moment. And they were like, okay, I want to do it. Let's do it. And I want to be a part of this. I want to put UAPB on a national platform. This is what we want to do. And we were able to do that. So bringing in Power 5 transfers like Azay Green, like Amari Davenport, even a Karina Carter. Karina is a 5-star kid that's sitting out for us right now. She's a transfer from the University of Virginia. They want to be, you know, they want that feeling back, that swag that they had when they were playing in high school, when basketball was fun, before they went to wherever they went to their previous institutions and didn't have the outcome that they thought that they were going to have. They want to get back to the having fun part of it. And I think that was something that we really wanted to allow them to, you know, it's kind of like you got that junkyard pit bull, and you kind of, you know, you have a pit bull. I don't do dogs, but when you have a pit bull, you keep him on a chain, right? And you chain him to the tree because you don't want him to go too far out of the yard. And I think that when they're in their previous institutions, the chain is like this small, right? Mm-hmm. But when they come to UAPB, we kind of let the chain out a little bit, you know, a little bit wider, and so they're able to get loose and have a good time. And sometimes it's a roll of the dice. Do you always get lucky? No, but I will say I have a wonderful group of young women this year. I wouldn't trade any of them or you know, any of them for anything in the world. I love my team, and we're just growing through it right now. We're growing through it.
I like that phrase, growing through it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Coach, we got a couple more, then we're gonna wrap it up. Let's see, Ty's still having issues. But one thing, you have extensive experience going into the SWAC tournament. You know how to win and make it out. What's kind of been the game plan and the mode? You know, your starting conference play, you still have to be upper 8 teams to make it to the tournament. What are you telling your team right now to kind of encourage them for the remainder of these games?
It's different. I think when we were at Prairie View, our team knew when tournament time came, they don't lose. You know, for the 4 years that we went, when I was at Prairie View, we went 12-0. So anytime that Prairie View women's basketball showed up to that tournament, they knew that they don't lose. I think that's why Jackson has so much swag now. Jackson knows that when they step on the floor, that they don't lose. And that's why they're playing so well right now. But it's different when you haven't had that taste in your mouth and you haven't had an opportunity to go to the tournament, to start calculating wins. You have to do more of the getting them to believe, buy in, you know, be all in. And those are the things that you have to continue to get them to see now. And so we're trying to get our young women to trust each other, to know that that you have each other's back, because we know for a fact on paper that we do have the most talented team in the conference. And I'll just, you know, on paper, we do. But getting them to play together has been a big challenge for us, because you have so many stars that is transferred in from their previous institution. And, you know, I got 5 or 6 kids that would take the last shot on the shot clock. But, you know, then you having to get that one specific person who you as a coach feel that's confident in taking that shot, or to continue to run that offense through those people's hands. Then you have to get the other young women on the team to buy into that vision also. And that's what we've been really preaching to our young women every day. It's just understanding that trust each other and love each other and have each other's back, pull each other up, and you can't go wrong. And I think that we're actually starting to see that now.
Okay, Coach. Well, I think Ty's done for the night, so I'm going to end it with one last question. We've been talking, 3 beautiful Black women on this call right now. One thing I want to know, if someone came up to you and said, "Hey, Coach, I want to be just like you. I want to be Diva Coach 2.0. I want to be a coach in the SWAC as well." What advice would you tell them? What would you tell them to, encourage them to go after that dream?
I started from the bottom. So, true story is a lot of our kids now, they don't really handle rejection well. Now in 2023 than it was to be told no in 2002. When I graduated from college, true story, because this is who I am. I applied for a job at Jackson State 4 times. Before I even started, I was at Tougaloo College when I graduated, but I wanted to be a grad assistant, and then 2 times as an assistant, and even applying as a head coach, and being told no, and understand that no doesn't necessarily mean no. No sometimes mean not right now. Trusting that God has a purpose and a plan for your life. And sometimes when you want to see yourself in certain situations, sometimes God has something totally different for you. I would have never thought that I would be in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. You would ask me that 15 years ago. I was like, no, Pine Bluff. I'm in Houston, Pine Bluff. But I understand why I am where I am today, why I am here. I get that. I've embraced it. I own it. I love it. But I would just tell them is that you got to do your work. I remember washing uniforms, sweeping the floor, driving the bus. Even as a head coach at Shorter College, I was driving the bus after coaching a game. And you think about how draining coaching a game is, or maybe you can't, maybe they can. And then you having to go feed them, get on the bus, and stay awoke and drive your team back to campus. And that's just different because the generation that we have right now, everything is hands-on. You could call an Uber and go where you want to go. But no, when I just got started, I was driving my head coach around. I was opening the door for my head coach. I was bringing her favorite snack. I was making sure that she didn't have to worry about anything. My favorite word is anticipatory. I have excellent anticipatory skills as an assistant, and I understood what it took in order to be the best version of me that I could possibly be. So I would say work your butt off, and do everything in your power to build relationships, be respectful, and work hard. There's no shortcut. Always be honest. I was never going to lie to Toyelle Wilson. Toyelle is now the head women's basketball coach at SMU. That's who gave me an opportunity to coach at Prairie View. And I was not going, and to be honest with you, Tamika actually called Toyelle and told Toyelle, you got to hire this girl. She's a rock star. So Toyelle stepped out on the strength of what Tamika said in her word after coming off of a championship from Jackson State, as an assistant. And, she just gave me a shot. And I didn't want to take advantage of that opportunity that Tamika picked up the phone to make a call for me. And I wanted to do right by that situation with her. But also, I never wanted to let my head coach down. And I think that that's where assistants sometimes go wrong with now, is that you're okay with letting people down. And I was not. You can put Toyelle Wilson on this IG Live, and she will tell you, I will not let her down. And that's why I think that I've been who I am in this profession, and why I'll continue to grow as a head coach.
Oh, I love that answer, because as soon as when you were starting it off, you applied at Jackson State a couple times. I'm like, Tamika told me the same thing. Yeah. Like Jackson State was the club that you might not get in every Friday.
Yeah, you can't. They don't. Well, look, we don't let it. And I'm a product of it with 2 degrees. We don't let everybody in. Hell, I ain't get in. That was a long time ago.
But it's good to see 2 Coach Reed, 2 Jackson State products dominating the SWAC. So, Coach, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to come on. Hopefully you have fun. Even with Ty's technical difficulties, we
I
love talking.
did.
When we were, sitting down saying, all right, we talked to Tamika Reed, who we want to talk to next? Coach Thornton. First thought that came. So we're so thankful that you took the opportunity to come and talk to us. I got some stories coming out for y'all, and I can't wait to see what you and the team do this season. So God bless. Everyone that's watching this, have a very blessed evening. Thank you for joining us this week on HBCU Period. We're going to be back next week. Hopefully the two of us. No technical difficulties. So start saying your prayers right now that we get through. No issues next week. All right.
Well, thank you
everyone
so much for having me. I appreciate it. Is Ty going to be in Tallahassee this weekend?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, I have to hit her up. It's my Founders Day tomorrow, so tell Ty I'm looking for her.
Amen. You want to say anything to your sorors?
I'm just proud of everybody. Shout out to my sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Our Founders Day is tomorrow. I expect everybody to cut up and be unapologetic about it. I am. So my kids gonna feel it. And, I got a Sigma Gamma Rho on my team, and I'm going to rub it in her face all day tomorrow. So, but absolutely, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for having me. Anytime that I can be a voice for you all, I would love to be able to represent with you. Thank you.
Amen. I think everyone who watched this call, especially if they paid attention to that last question, I know you definitely changed some lives, gave some good advice. Even if you don't want to become a coach, I'm a journalist, and I took some away. So thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. Everyone, have a nice evening.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.